All right, welcome everybody to another special episode of Circle of the Earth Fellowship. We're going to be talking about the quote unquote the final experiment, and I'm excited to have a special guest for y'all. We'll have that up here in just a second, but I hope y'all are excited to talk about this. Even though look at my logo, I did have an assumption. To me, it's not a claim. It is something that I assumed worked that way, as we had no footage of it. But as a trusted source, at least for me, has shown, um, indicated while he was there, that indeed it did have a 24-hour sun. It does bring in to question what you see here with the sun moving around, and obviously the debate of whether it's been inside the firmament, as in under the dome, or whether it's been outside but within the actual fullness of the firmament. um, but yeah, we'll get into that tonight a little bit. But before we do, like always, let's go ahead and say hello to all those who have joined us tonight, and do a little housekeeping, and then we'll get into it. So, sweet. Welcome, everybody. First up, we got a special guest with us. We got Sean from Kingdom and Context. Welcome, brother. I've seen you've done a couple videos, or I guess at least one video talking about the final experiment. And I thought you had a lot of great insight, so I'm glad you were able to join us tonight and talk about this, because I think there's so many things to that this indicates, and on so many kind of different levels. And so I'm excited to hear your pick your brain about that. So welcome, brother. Good to see you. Shalom. You sound great to me. Hopefully to the. Okay, yeah. Thank you for actually saying that, because I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. All right, your sound should be good. Uh,
Check.
give them a little bit more feedback than that, just so that they can indicate whether they can hear you or not. I
Mic
think they
check.
sh Yeah.
Mic check. Mic check. Hello. Hello.
Maybe even turn it up a little bit more. Or maybe turn this down and turn you up. That's what I will do. No sound. Okay. Sorry, everyone. It's just something I forever will deal with, apparently. Um, okay, I'm gonna turn you up to 200%.
Welcome to the stream, Sean.
Okay, there you go. Okay, sweet. I can hear y'all on this channel. I can hear. Okay, sweet. All right, everyone can hear you. Sorry for that delay, everyone. Sean, welcome, brother. Good to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sweet. Let's jump over to Robert. We were talking a little bit before the stream started about all the kind of things that we first thought when we saw it. But I'm excited to have you here, brother, and I'm excited to talk about it. Good to see you. Shalom.
Shalom. Yeah, I'm a young FEer,
Yeah.
well, about 2 or 3 years old, right? So my I'm a little fragile, but yeah, I was talking a little bit, and we'll be going on talking about is like when you see all the questionable evidence to support a sphere. There's a lot of explaining that still needs to be done there. So it's definitely not that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it is, it's a huge, huge sphere
Yeah.
because the curvature is not that sharp. So
Yeah, and they didn't just go 237,000 miles. They went whatever, do the new radius, do the new distance. You're talking about, no, back in 1969 they were able to go not 237,000, but let's just say a cool million miles there and back, even though they had only prepared for the 237. So yeah, there's still more. There's still a preponderance of evidence when it comes to where we live than the final experiment suggests. So great point. All right, and then last but not least, Frankie B. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're excited to talk about this. I know last week we kind of talked about it a little bit, but yeah, welcome. Shalom.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. This is a huge topic in the community. I'm going to lean on the biblical cosmology, stay with that, because that's where the truth is, I believe. And I'm not going to let no final experiment wave me from believing that what the scriptures say is true. So let's dive into the evidence. Let's dive into this topic and let's go, baby. This is the show. We've been all waiting for it.
Yeah, and the whole
Hello, everyone.
Oh, shalom. And
Yeah.
and though they call it the final experiment, it's like, how about we figure out the radius? How about we verify the radius? Let's do that. You know what I mean? We only need a small chunk of land to verify the radius, where we should be able to measure curvature, but we don't. And there's always they just keep it's the moving the goalposts. They just do it over and over and over. And I feel like here they're like, we'll see, our model predicts that we'll have a 24-hour sun, and see, we have a 24-hour sun. But I think even within the final experiment itself leaves more to question, like, okay, you're seeing it there, but if, let's say, Antarctica is still a ring, if you, let's say, went from Russia and went to Antarctica, to the nearest place to Antarctica or whatever, if you went on it from a different continent down to Antarctica, would you be able to easily fly from, supposedly from our map, from one side to the other? See, I think something like that would be like, okay, well then we're looking at continent Antarctica as a continent. Again, does that then prove, just because Antarctica is a continent, that the only reason why that could be so would be because because of a globe? But
Well, my thoughts are, being it's a controlled experiment and it's a controlled place, that it possibly could be a sweet spot. That's my
yeah,
theory.
yeah, that's
That could be a sweet spot. They know that there's a 24-hour sun in that spot, and they're just trying to disprove our movement.
yeah, it's like
But
one of the gates is right there, and so
but our
that's why we see. Go ahead.
but in our community, our movement that it's biblical. So it's outside of the flat earth community, because we are all biblically sound and we all believe in the biblical account. So the biblical account would say that we are living in a flat realm covered by multiple domes.
Yeah.
And that sun could be outside of our dome, where and that spot could be a sweet spot where that sun is 24 hours a day. That's my theory. That's my thoughts on it. We'll
Yeah.
dive into the evidence and we'll see where the rabbit hole leads us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are definitely rabbit hole diggers, or divers, if you would call it that.
Thank you, brother Dalton, for that sub. Appreciate it, brother. Okay, so let me just, I want to shout out a few people real quick before we get into the full discussion. And if you have anything that you would like to share, Sean, you can share a screen, and if you put it on a different screen, you can share that screen independently from your main screen. So just food for thought if there is anything. But let me pull this up. Oh, I need to do it through here. Okay, there we go. And this is not full screen for whatever reason. Okay. Share screen. And boom. Boom. So First off, I want to shout out to Witsit Gets It for going there. I haven't seen you. We haven't seen him since he was there, so I bet he's just kind of diligently working on a video from what he saw, and kind of maybe speculating as to why he saw what he saw. And I hope he's good and in good health, and there with his loving wife and children. So yeah, go check out Witsit Gets It if you haven't. And then, of course, I want to shout out to Liz and Chris and Liz Bailey over on Take on the World. They allow us to come on their platform and share our pieces of the puzzle with their family. So I always want to show gratitude for that. And if you don't know, over on Take on the World or those over from Sean's channel, we are Circle of the Earth Fellowship. Check us out on YouTube if you're interested in supporting the channel. It's free, and it helps us be more readily available to other people seeking the puzzle pieces of truth. So with that being said, of course, you probably already do, but for those who haven't, go check out Kingdom in Context. Sean here with us is puts out tons of content all over the not only truth seeking community content, but also a teacher of biblical of the scripture. So definitely I found him through Jaron, believe it or not, and I'm not a big fan of Jaron anymore. Sorry, brother, but you just the things you say, man. But anyways, but the Investigating Babylon series was just so epic, and if you haven't watched it, definitely go check it out. Okay, sweet. I will end that there, and yeah. So let's talk about this. Let's lead with you, Sean. What are your your main takeaways from this? But that kind of also in mind that other video you did with that gentleman. Now I know theologically y'all weren't necessarily on the same track, but the fact that there was another man who was researching scripture, seeking for truth, and came up with this idea of how this could work within a firmament structure. And I don't remember his name, so forgive me, but he made it.
Joseph Hanvey.
Say it again.
Joseph Hanvey.
Joseph Hanvey. So go check that video out on Sean's channel if you haven't. But I thought the same thing you thought, was like, wait, why wasn't this idea ever presented to us before? The first, when you had him on, was the first time I had ever seen a biblical cosmologist showing how experimenting, working on. Now, obviously, you're on YouTube, you've dealt with it. I'm on YouTube, I've dealt with it. So we know there's this like kind of shadowy area where you don't necessarily get that picked up. And so it's like, it seems like from coincidence, you found out about him and then was able to get him on your show, and then get it out kind of to the people like, hey, there's someone who is a brother in the faith that has been showing a different way this could work, and none of us have ever seen this before. And to me, it blew my mind.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that apparently, as I learned, the more I've investigated it, that especially also Joseph's videos where he's reviewing Will Duffy directly talking and trying to dismiss Joseph's model, and claim that because the model wasn't perfected yet, that everything he has shown thus far still isn't admissible, basically, in Will Duffy's mind. Obviously, this is just within Will Duffy's mind, right? So this is where I say the dishonesty is coming in, because clearly, if you're trying to frame this final experiment as something that's going to be a final determining factor
Yeah.
for this argument, one way or another, and you're claiming the globe is the only one that has this can demonstrate this 24-hour sun in Antarctica, But yet here we have people in the FE community, specifically biblical cosmologists, specifically people that believe in a firmament enclosed reality, demonstrating this 24-hour sun as the sun does its circumference over the Tropic of Capricorn. That's significant. Like, that's a significant demonstration of a model that the Bible says we live in a firmament enclosed, hard structure, dome-like reality. And so, in the sun, moon, and stars make their circumference in the heaven above us. So, if you can actually demonstrate all those variables in an experiment, that's in a model, I should say. That's pretty powerful, right? So,
Yeah.
for Will to know about that 3 months ago, make videos trying to disqualify and dismiss it 3 months ago, and then for the past 3 months, including during the final experiment, claim that this observation is only seen on a globe, just dishonest, 100% dishonest.
Yeah, it's definitely slimy, because it's like, if you knew of this, that, you know, the fact that he had conversation with them, but yet he presented that he had his only belief was that every let's call them flat earthers must believe that the 24-hour sun is impossible with on the flat earth model. And it's like, no, I think a lot of us actually kind of question it. It was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense that it works like that, but we didn't have any hard proof claim. And then when we looked at the so-called proof that there was a 24-hour sun, we get a video that's edited and it's cloudy and it's all this, you know. It's like, why didn't they just squash this one of the other sunny days that they had? It would have took them, 3 hours of time? But they made a spectacle of this through the final experiment. And interesting enough, right, the flat earth, the final experiment, they used those letters intentionally, I believe. And I wanted to almost label this video the futile experiment, because in reality, from their perspective, I believe it was futile. I believe all they did was give truthers a puzzle piece of the truth, right? That's all they did. From their perspective, from Glober's perspective, in my opinion, they're going to say, see, boom, this is proof enough for everyone to know that our model's correct, that y'all are fools. We've been telling you, we were right this whole time. Y'all won't admit it. And that was always going to happen. And I think that's why they set it up as this spectacle, as this, let's get these big names in these movements. And what you had 3 people from the flat earth, quote unquote, the flat earth movement, versus 12 people for the globe. So it's like, you can tell this was like a spike from who knows how long ago, of when they kind of set this idea that the 24-hour sun can only exist within a globe model. It's pretty preposterous.
Yeah, I mean, here's the crazier part. I actually have, I want to share my screen, but I don't know if it's going to let me.
Yeah.
Here in Discord.
Yep. Well, so if you go to the bottom, and you should see like the camera, the middle one is little monitor. If you click that.
I do see that. I'm sorry. I'm just looking for the correct window to share. It's not letting me. It's not. Okay, here we go. All right. Tell me if you can.
Yep.
Tell me if you can make that big for everyone to see.
Yep.
The
Well,
broadcast.
so if you go to the bottom, and you should see like the camera, the middle one is little monitor.
Mic check.
If you click that.
I do see that. I'm sorry. I'm just looking for the correct window to share. Can you guys hear me? Mic check. It's not letting me. It's not. Okay, here we go. All right. Mic check, mic check. Can you hear me? Tell me if you can make that big for everyone to see.
Yep. Well,
anyone.
If you go to the bottom, and you hold up.
So I can hear you for sure.
I'm hearing myself on the stream.
I can't hear Vader Bear. I don't know what just happened.
He's very faint.
Correct window to share. Can you guys hear me?
You can hear me, Sean? Oh, what the heck?
Okay, Vader Bear, if you can hear me, I can't hear you at all.
No, I can hear you. I'm hearing myself on the other side, so I just need to stop talking, and then when it stops talking, I'm hearing myself on the stream.
I can't hear Vader Bear. I don't know what just happened. I'm already trying to screen share.
You can hear me, Sean?
Discord
You
studio.
have the
What the
stream
hell?
open.
Vader Bear,
All
if you
right,
can hear me,
sorry.
I can't hear you at all.
No, sorry, I can hear you. I'm hearing myself on the
Vader Bear, we got to
other
get
side,
you on
so I just
StreamYard
need to
soon, bro.
Stop talking, and then
Discord's a
when it
mess,
stops
brother.
talking, hold up,
Oh,
and
I can hear you for sure.
I'm hearing
Oh,
myself
yeah.
on the
I
stream.
can't hear Vader Bear. I don't know what just happened. I'm already trying to screen share. Okay, it looks like
No,
on
you
the
are
live
hearing
broadcast
me,
that it is
Sean?
showing
You
Discord
have
studio.
the stream open.
It is showing my screen, but it's just very, very, very
I can hear
blurry.
you. I'm hearing myself on the
Vader
other
Bear, we got to
side,
get
so
you
I
on
just
StreamYard
need to
soon, bro.
Stop talking, and then
Discord's a
when it
mess,
stops
brother.
talking, hold up,
Oh, I
and
can hear you for sure.
I'm hearing
And
myself
now I
on
just
the
messed it up.
stream.
I can't hear Vader Bear. I don't know what just happened. I'm already trying
And
to screen
somebody's
share.
got the
Okay,
stream
it looks
open.
like on the live broadcast that it is showing
The
Discord
YouTube
studio.
stream.
Yeah.
Are you
So
watching
for whatever
YouTube
reason,
showing on your computer?
I've got multiple screens up on my computer because I'm actually live streaming this to my channel as well right now.
oh, okay. So it's
Yeah,
grabbing
you
all of your audio too, which you're
Oh.
hearing on me. So okay, we can't. Trying to think of how else we can do this. If I mute and you go in there and you just kind of talk, I'll have to leave. Sorry. I totally thought this worked. No one has ever shared their screen before, so I didn't think it would grab audio both of those ways. Because it's grabbing your audio. Can I maybe mute? Here, I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to mute the audio to the stream. Go ahead and bring up the share screen again. Because I think what... Okay.
I can just read it out for you. Because it's much easier. There's basically I briefly flashed it on screen for anyone that might be interested to see because they can go back and screenshot it. But ultimately, a few days after the final experiment, I was in a group on Facebook that Will Duffy's in, and someone was congratulating him on destroying the flat Earth in this post in this group. And so I just went in there and I asked Will specifically, since he was on that thread. I said, well, when you do your press tours concerning this trip, will you be sharing that you interviewed a flat earther before the trip that predicted and is demonstrating a 24-hour sun within a firmament enclosed circle of Earth model, and going to great depths to demonstrate the optics of how that observation happens according to what God described in the scriptures as the shape of creation, and that he also disagreed with the two high-profile flat earthers who accompanied you on this trip that thought there wouldn't be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And his response was, not sure who you're talking about specifically.
Yeah.
So it's just blatant denial. Just even though Joseph Hamby has on his channel videos reviewing Will Duffy's rebuttal videos from 3 months ago addressing Joseph Hamby's model. So this is just like blatant dishonesty. And so he's just denying that, oh, there's no working model. There's no working model. And so, yeah, like literally there's literally Will put out a video rebuttal against Joseph Hamby's model 3 months ago on Will's channel because he was acknowledging the model. He didn't like it. And he didn't think it was, perfected enough for his opinion. And so, yeah, just another blatant mistruth, another, misinformation, bad shading, straight up. This is a lie. This whole concept that they're taking their victory lap and acting like, he's submitting press releases to all these news articles to run the same story.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing is a media. And I promise you, Michael MC Toon is a part of this. This is just their push effort in order to make it seem as if this was the final nail in the coffin. But it's just absolute dishonesty.
Okay, so a good caveat to what you just said is they say that this is the final nail in the coffin, but they're addressing the sky. What's happening in the sky? How does what the sun does change what the physical dimensions of the earth are, right? It doesn't. It shouldn't. So just because the sun behaves in such a way on such a place doesn't then indicate, okay, like, yeah, it in their model they say it works, right? See, we say you'll see this and you see this, but you take away if you go to a different location, if you're seeing it all around supposed the continent of Antarctica, and just talk about, okay, but let's look at the Earth. Like, look at these pictures. You can kind of see them here in the back, where it is as flat as you can see, minus the mountains. He said it's as flat as you can see. It's just ice frozen, all just as far as you can see. And so to me, that even more so indicates that it's like, see, why were they looking at the sun there? They should have been measuring. They should have been doing laser things over the ice where it's cold, and there shouldn't be any refraction. There shouldn't be any, you know what I mean, quote unquote. So a lot of the atmospheric issues that causes in North America wouldn't exist in that type of environment. So instead of them doing these other experiments that would probably be really useful there, no, they look at the sun to describe what the Earth is, and I still think that that's a folly mindset.
Right.
Sean, can I ask you? You're still holding the biblical cosmology stance? You haven't wavered, right?
Hang on, let me try to turn my volume up. I can barely hear. I think Frankie's talking. I can barely hear him.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
No.
Yeah, get close to your mic, brother.
Yeah. You're still holding the biblical cosmology stance? You haven't wavered?
Yes. Yeah, I still believe we're enclosed by a firmament. Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. That's a big thing because I'm not wavering. I know Vader's not wavering. And I don't think there's any cause for any of us that are in the chat and that are going to watch this video to waver. It's biblical. It's God's design. We're all on one page with that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing about that this observation down there changes the decades worth of tests that have been done to measure zero curvature, and much less, or even more so, I should say, this observation in Antarctica does not change the words in the Bible. Scripture literally definitively declares that we're enclosed with a firmament, a hard structure firmament spread out as a dome shape, according to an abundance of scriptures. So I'm going to always stick with my Father's word and let men be proved a liar.
And right, there's no, that doesn't then, because there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, then qualify all the pictures from the supposed moon landing, right? It doesn't then change the fact that we can look at those pictures, those supposed images, those supposed photographs, and say, wait, no, you have light coming from multiple light sources from multiple directions. You can't take this picture in supposed space. Where'd they get these lights from? How'd they brought, like, so, but what's weird is they're using this, like you said, as this final nail in the coffin, when it's like, no, all you did was the burden of proof was on you in the beginning. The burden on the, so okay, you have validated one thing, saying your model suggests. Well, your model also suggests that there should be 8 inches per mile squared drop of curvature, and that's never been measured. So just because one of your claims that again has to do with the heavens and not the earth, you are then saying, well, the heavens should do this around the earth if globe. So it's just so preposterous. It's a weak argument, in my honest opinion.
Well, that's why I believe it was a controlled setup. I mean, they put him in a place that is completely controlled. Obviously, they knew there was a 24-hour sun there. Mm-hmm. And then once we measured it with Austin, our people, it would disclaim flat Earth. And I think that's what I think that was the whole plan, because they sent him to that area. That area is controlled. It's the only area they're allowed to go and make measurements and do experiments. That's why I think it's a controlled. You want to call it a psyop, whatever. I just think it's a controlled opposition.
Yeah. I will go back. I would go back to the previous videos that they released beforehand, which were sketchy, and you see all the weird
Uh-huh.
shadowing broken up and all that. I think it was just trolling all of us
Yeah.
uh, for our reaction. And they totally knew. And I think I would call it an apparent son um, that they had over there. I was watching some of was it Joseph or Justin? The video that the gentleman that was with Sean earlier, and
Joseph.
someone had posted his links in Discord before he was on Sean's, um, and so yeah, you definitely could see where it's possible where the sun. I mean, we manipulated the sun ourselves with mirrors and magnifying glasses and whatnot to direct the sun and sunlight. And I mean, you can feel the warmth of the sun off from a large mirror shining on you. So, because as Witch had said, he can feel the warmth of the sun when he was out there. That doesn't mean a thing either, because like I said, you can get warmth uh, even from a reflection from a mirror on you.
Yeah.
So
That
we don't
would
know
make it even hotter.
enough
If it
yet.
was a reflection, that would make it even hotter. And he said the sun was burning him. Isn't that right? If it was a reflection, it would actually make it hotter.
I don't know.
It's possible. It'd be hard to tell, honestly, as far as just from the heat, whether it's especially if we're dealing with something like the sun that's been designed to light up the whole Earth or light up the Earth, as it makes its circumference. I just think unless you had some sort of specific test to do, I think it's hard to tell.
Well, and I do want to say this because I saw on one of the videos that they're like, oh, so people are are basically claiming that this was fake or whatever, and I will say like there is a part of me that wants to say, well, would I put it past the evil one to bring down fire in the sight of men? You know what I mean? Like is the technology possible for them to fake this for X amount of time? And it's like, yeah, you got the people. So I don't lean towards that. I just think that this is more there's more to this than them simply honestly, especially Will Duffy, wanting to know the truth. He knew it and he set this thing up like you indicated with your discussion that he knew about this, that it was possible, and still went with the whole stick of this proves flat earth, debunk, proven, final nail in the coffin, the final experiment. And you can really see the kind of, let's call it the deep state, whatever the thing is, probably the evil one and unclean spirits, that are kind of over making this thing what it is. Because yeah, you're right, like as soon as it happened, that live stream happened, every single, like even like local news stations were writing articles about this. So I don't know, I thought it was pretty interesting. And
Well, I thought it was interesting that Duffy is requiring everyone on the trip to do this little, one by one interview in front of the camera before they had even seen the 24-hour sun the entire time. I thought that was kind of weird. You're like, okay, well, you're there. It's looking to be in your favor. That's fine. But why are you making them do this? Again, that's why I speculated. I wonder if it was in the contract that they all signed that, if one side or the other, that all of them would have to come up and admit on camera if one side or the other was correct in their speculation. So, but it just seemed weird that they did that before they did the actual 24-hour sun test. But either way, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, that's what I was misunderstood, or maybe that's what I understood from Austin's part of that video where he's talking. He says, "Well, we haven't been here, we haven't seen it for full 24 hours yet, but it's looking like it's going to be like that." And so I'm just sitting there going, "What? Why didn't Duffy wait for it to happen? Like wait for day 3 or something? You know what I mean? After they had the full 24-hour film and all the supposedly the terabytes of information they got." just seem really rushed. But I understand now. They're literally it's the old saying, like when I debate Trinitarians and they come in and they're like the rooster that comes in and kicks over the chessboard and just struts around like they won.
Yeah.
You know, they just come in calling you a heretic and an unbeliever, and then they just want to, no matter what you say, they're like, yeah, that's why you lost. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's like a parody of like some weird, overzealous guy in some like 80s football movie, right?
Yeah.
He's
Well,
just like that brash, yeah, we won no matter what the score is. He's just yelling, we won. Like that's the attitude that Duffy and McToon are taking right now with this whole thing. And of course, they've got the media on their side. So like, if you actually were to write an actual observation from the perspective of the FE participants, in that if they were to admit, oh, there were people within our camp that thought they would see this, but we in particular did not, that kind of nuance doesn't really translate well in a short press release. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this, where Austin does mention it very, very briefly. And I think that is a disservice. Unfortunately, that just played right into Duffy's hands with him denying that there was a demonstration of this on an FE model. So I just think it's funny.
I wonder, do you know if Austin knew about this, about Justin?
Joseph. Yeah, he said he did. He said he does. Have you seen that video that was released where they all got in front of the camera one by one while they're in Antarctica?
I kind of saw it.
I would share it for you, but I can't share my screen successfully.
Just message me the link to the video, and I can put it up on the stream. We can do it that way.
Yeah, well, if that's true, then it sounds like they knew there was going to be a 24-hour sun there in advance.
No. Austin knew about Joseph Hamby's model. So did Jaron. Jaron was I don't know what his opinion of it was. I don't think he has a positive opinion of it, but he knew about it because in Will Duffy's response video to Joseph Hamby's model 3 months ago, he's mentioning the fact that Jaron and Hamby had gotten together on this thing, and we're talking about it and experimenting with it. Or at least, at the very least, that Hamby had shown Jaron the model. So, look, all I know is I haven't talked to Austin or Jaron, but it seems like they weren't really convinced by the demonstration of it because they just kind of already assumed that it wouldn't be a reality anyway. And so, but that's what Witsa was saying on that interview where he's saying, well, now we may have to we've got some more data to go and reevaluate, what someone has been theorizing that it can be possible. But again, he just says like 10 words. He just says like a few words to talk about. He doesn't even need great depth. And that is, unfortunately, I don't know, like we're not getting a lot of data or we're not getting a lot of videos right now from the participants from the FE side. But the Globe side, they're just pumping out stuff constantly, right? Yeah. They're just pumping out all their 24-hour cam stuff. They're going live.
Yeah, they're running with it.
Well, and look at the people that they selected. If you look at most of those channels, it's not just one people. They either have hired people that do their marketing and stuff like that. You have that versus Austin, a man who does it basically by himself. You have Jaron, who he probably, like everyone pays some money to maybe improve some things, but mostly does it by himself, figured it out along the way. And versus these well-oiled machines to pump out this content. And it's very telling. It's very telling that the media is so receptive and so hungry for these. How many articles I've seen from, like, again, local, like, I'm talking about city or county news. And for the fact that to move that quickly, it's like they thought it was going to be like C flat, like it was the thing that you could tell a flat earther, look, there's a 24-hour sun. Now you can't believe what you believe. And I don't think that I think they are underestimating truthers, those who are seeking truth, that we're not opposed to seeing true things. And I see people saying, like, okay, so we're just believing Austin. Does that mean, like, all our faith is in one man, Austin? No. I believe that he...
What are you talking about?
Someone said Natty Pump Bumpoo. I'm not sure, but it says we literally placing all our trust in one man, Austin. No, it's
Well,
not even about.
no one's ever claimed that. I don't. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no one ever claimed that. But what I want to say is like, even if Austin's information, okay, let's say he's a shill, and that really isn't that way. Okay, well then we were never gonna know. Someone else said they would have never let the experiment happen if it wasn't going to benefit their model. Okay, so
Exactly.
even that, it's like, okay, yeah, they allowed it to happen, thus giving this information. And again, this is based upon a claim that I never made. I never said it has to be, if there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, it must mean globe. That's the, to me, straw man that Will Duffy basically put in place, was saying this is the final experiment. If it is a 24-hour sun, the Earth is a globe. We can wash ourselves all this and move forward. We can forget all the other truths. It's so insane to me. And with all his sliminess, with all of the behavior, the fruit that he has shown, the media, the content being pumped out, it's obvious that this was a planned thing. You know what I mean?
No, this was an orchestrated event.
Yeah,
Orchestrated from the moment that he opened his channel, started making the declarations, started putting out the challenges, trying to get people on the board on both sides, trying to do all the interviews. But where he's hoping that people won't catch on, which they're not at this point, is he interviewed somebody that actually went against his whole theory. His whole theory for his whole propaganda push was, this is an observation that only the globe claims. And then he interviewed Joseph Hanvey that said in August or in September, and he said, no, it's not. We claim it, and I can demonstrate it on a firmament model.
Mhm.
And Will Duffy was like, that can't be real. And then he starts making rebuttal videos to try to denigrate Duffy's model. So that's where he had to just, in order for him to keep the hype going, he had to be dishonest going that point forward and say, oh, this is just a claim for the globes only. So you can't be an FE, you can't believe in a firmament, you can't believe in a flat earth and still make this claim. That's just patently false, because clearly it's been demonstrated. So that's the part where, look, and some people will come along and say, well, has it been demonstrated? Show me the moon also in there. Show me the rotation of the star. You know, they want to get technical and be like, show me, pump in atmosphere in there and show me what it's like with atmosphere in that dome. And I'm like, there's already atmosphere in the dome. Otherwise it'd be a vacuum chamber for one. But people just come along and try to denigrate the experiment that he's showing. When on the other side, the globe model, there is no experiments.
Yeah.
There's no experiment of a globe rotating in space and vacuum with water sticking to it. There's no experiment like that. This is, I've joking, long time ago, like 2016, I was working as a manager at this store that I was in, and one of my customers came in and he said he was a professor of physics at a local university. And I asked him, hey, sir, do you know in all of academia, is there an experiment anywhere that talks about if you have a vacuum chamber and you put a sphere inside a vacuum chamber and then spin the sphere inside the vacuum chamber and then get water to stick to the sphere as it's spinning inside the vacuum chamber? He looked at me, he's like, that's impossible. And I said, you're right. So how is that what we're told we live on? And he just looked at me. He's like, I don't know. Yeah, it was really, I've made him feel awkward, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like, here's a professor of physics. He doesn't have a clue how that would be possible. Yet we pump it into children's brains that this is where you live. So there is no actual demonstration of the globe model ever. At least on the other side, you have people building small scale models of a firmament enclosed land with lights moving in the way that we see them moving from our own observations. And that's just we're leaps and bounds as far as experimentation above the globe model, but they just constantly claim, you guys don't have any proof. You don't do real science. And it's such a false projection.
Yeah, when we do experiments that show these things, they always want to say, "Oh, your lighting is wrong. You don't know how to use a camera. You don't know how to use a laser. Did you level it?" They have all of these critiques to our physical experiments. All they have is mathematical equations that were put on Google by someone else, and they all that's why it's so easy to believe in a globe, because all you have to do is give over your thought process, your critical thinking, to the quote unquote experts, the scientists, and if you listen to them, you can't go wrong because they're way smarter than you. And it's like, you can see how layered it is for people to believe, and that's why, like, I have grown in mercy and grace towards other people when they're believers but they're not quite into the biblical cosmology, because it's like I see all the weapons that have been prepared to get people's minds to think a certain way, as opposed to at least seeking the truth or knowing the truth. So, yeah, it's crazy. Did you send that link to me by chance?
No,
The Will
I
Duffy?
didn't. No, because it's
Hey,
it's like a
can
whole
I ask a question?
lengthy video. I don't know the timestamp for that.
Oh, okay.
Hey, can I ask a question? Duffy's the guy that we watched the Austin video, the Austin debate with, right? He was the Globe guy debating with Austin.
Was he?
No,
Who was the guy that was debating with him, telling him to go to Antarctica? He'll pay for it.
Oh,
Sean, you came
every
in on that
person who's ever
show.
debated on that topic, probably.
Who was it? You came in on
I was
that
making a
show,
joke. It's
Sean.
every person that Austin ever debates on that topic says the same stuff.
I didn't know. All right.
Yeah, no, I don't think they ever had a formal debate.
No, Will Duffy debated Keith from Flatzoid Perspective about a week before the trip on Modern Day Debate.
Okay.
And in that debate, he said the Bible could be falsified. Yep. Yeah, so this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with someone that actually believes the Bible is malleable, that it doesn't accurately tell us what it says, and that he would rather trust his eyes. He would live by sight, not by faith, in a sense. Now, it's like it's crazy. Hey, Vader, do you have access to pull up Duffy's channel and show one of his videos?
Uh-huh.
It's TFE, the Final Experiment channel. And just for everyone that's curious, or any of the people that are doubting in the live chat, I almost was one of the participants that went on this trip. If I'd have said yes, I would have been one of the participants. So that's, I mean, hopefully, I hope that when I got back, people would believe my word. But you never know. People might suddenly be calling me a liar or a shill, or saying that I'm part of a hoax. It's just crazy, guys. Look, we have multiple witnesses going down there telling us it is where it is. The trip happened as they said. There's snow and mountains around them, as shown and as previously reported by other people that weren't a part of this trip, that know what Union Glacier is and where it is. There's plenty of credible validation to say it's a real trip. They went there with real intentions, and they actually made the observation they did. To me, this is a massive win for biblical cosmology. This is the part that it blows my mind. That maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know the hearts and minds of people that are claiming this is to be a hoax. Maybe they refuse to believe in a firmament, but this has literally been a great thing, actually, for biblical cosmology, because now we have a new observation which led someone to say, you know what? Or actually, even before they made the observations, this whole thing led someone to actually go, okay, well, what would a firmament model require to make this type of observation? Could it still be within the description of the sun circumventing the earth inside the firmaments, not underneath it, but in the layers of the firmament above it, outside of the layer that encompasses us? We staying within that description from the biblical model, can we produce this optical effect? And lo and behold, it was produced even before they made the optical effect. So now we've got someone like what's his name, Steve Alfonso and Joseph Hanvey, who made this optical effect happen using a dome, and that in itself becomes a prediction that the final experiment now becomes validation for.
Mm-hmm.
So like the prediction is you'll see this once you get there, and then when they got there, they saw that. So this is where we have predictions on both sides before the trip even happened. You had the globe side saying globe model predicts you'll see it this way. You had a firm enclosed model saying you'll also see it this way, and boom, there you have it.
Yeah, because and I know, like, as an example with David Weiss and his clock, right? Like, I think a lot of people just genuinely kind of saw it like that. And that what like why are people mad that the fuzziness of what we believe, like in my picture here I have all these puzzle pieces, like why would we be mad if this all of a sudden we know what this is, you know what I mean? And so it's like, to me it's a win that we know it works this way. Now when we look at scripture, we can say, okay, oh, there it is. And I was kind of saying this before, like how in the book of Enoch specifically talks about the gates or the portals, whatever you want to call them, and this may be one of those portals that happens in that part of the earth, just like it happens in the quote unquote north part of the earth, where it happens like in Alaska as an example. That doesn't again indicate that the curvature all of a sudden exists. And it's like, that's what blows my mind, is those that feel like they can just use this to hand wave dismiss all the other experiments, all the other data that's already been given, right? Again, okay, there is a 24-hour sun. The globe predicted it. Okay, the globe predicts a lot of things. Actually, they miss 97% of the things. Their math is off by 97%. So because we had an idea that was obviously suggested to us that it didn't exist, and it didn't exist, all of a sudden McToon and McDuffie can all of a sudden Will Duffy can all of a sudden just like say, see, we're gonna go down as the two men in history that proved the flat Earth, that squashed the flat Earth movement. It's so dumb to me. But I pulled up the final experiment page. Do you know what video in particular you were thinking about?
Yeah, there should be a most recent video where he shows his drone footage from 1,500 meters.
Okay, yeah, I saw that drone over Antarctica.
Is the name of the video. Drone over Antarctica.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
just put it on mute.
Hey everyone,
play
hope
it
you
if
all
you
had
can.
an amazing.
Skip through it to like the part where he starts the drone, and then just
talk about it.
It's, I mean, he takes it up to 1,500 meters, and he does a 360, and my goodness, can you see forever?
How dare you say that? Now they're gonna say, see, they believe you can see forever. Sherlock's Apprentice, welcome, welcome, brother. Thank you for the subscription. I'm assuming that you're a man, but thank you for the sub.
Hey, there's something I want to point out real quick for anyone that's confused in the live chat. What's not being talked about in this, what's not being talked about in some of this is that the 24-hour sun that they witnessed in Antarctica is not there the entire year. And we don't have corroborating, validating evidence that it's happening at other places in the supposed Antarctic continent, which on a FE map would be stretched as the interior outer edge of the circle of the Earth. And so we don't have evidence that this is happening from everyone's perspective everywhere at all times in Antarctica. And then this perspective only happens for like 3 months, I suppose, and then it goes into really, really long days. And so that's where you have other people's testimony from Antarctica from like February to May saying, well, we have like 10 to 12, or excuse me, 18 hours of daylight, if not more. But it's not up there forever. They did see a sunrise and a sunset. So just make sure people are, I mean, I just, for anyone out there listening that wants to talk about this amongst your friends and family, and all, make sure in the discussion that you actually detail what you're talking about, right? In a specific time at an extreme southern latitude, you see this optical effect, and it's only for a specific time of year. So, and we don't have like a real experiment that would be amazing to do with this is if someone in Australia could go to the Casey base, the Casey military base in Australia, and actually film it there as well at the same time, if that's being filmed. I mean, or if they could go, because I don't even know if that's 80 degrees latitude or 79 degrees latitude. But most of the other bases, they're closer to the shoreline of Antarctica, so they wouldn't be far enough south to have this same observation. So when we get videos of people from certain Antarctic substations and they say, "Oh, well, we didn't see it here. It's not here," or "Look, they don't have any footage of it there." Well, maybe they're not far enough south, or maybe they're not in the right position under the firmament, which also could have something to do with this effect.
Yeah, and like being able, and it's pretty interesting that you have all the countries come together to have the Antarctic Treaty, but it's not like we're freely able to go to the Chinese base camp and the Russian base camps. You know what I mean? So you have them spread out, and it's like if we were able to go to these different kind of parts, that as that would be a good experiment. Again, I don't think that if Antarctica was in itself a continent, that then therefore makes it, again, the curvature rate not be measurable suddenly happen. So yeah, but looking at this footage, how beautiful it is, and Austin was saying this is like it's kind of like a sign of like humans not welcome here.
Yeah.
We can't even live in our there's a part of our planet that we can't even like sustain life in, but yet they want to go to like even more.
Vader, I'm sorry to interrupt you, brother. This video that you're watching, is there any way to show the full screen? Because right now it's cutting off the top where you can see the horizon.
For you it is?
No, for the broadcast. I'm looking at what's being broadcasted.
Oh, it's not cutting anything off.
On Vader's channel, I can see the top. On yours, it's cut off.
I don't know how to. Let's see. Did that help?
So I don't know why. Some reason your screen on your channel is cut off on the very top.
It's like cutting off the mountains and everything. It's just showing. It's not showing the full screen for some reason. That's really weird.
Huh. I could try. Let's see if I did this instead. Nope, wrong one. Nope. So it's cut for your screen. I apologize, everyone. Let's see.
Because one of the things I was gonna point out was if you just put a ruler up to the screen as this thing floats around, you'll see the horizon never changes. It's flat the whole time.
I was almost looking for a backdrop. Like the old moon landing footage. They had the backdrop in the background.
But I can't quite.
I think I'll be able to do it. Just give me 1 second. And then I just need to grab.
So like even, on your channel for some reason it's showing the top of the screen where it has the title. But for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on.
So it's through you because you're screen sharing my screen share, and so it's cutting it that way.
There we go. I tried something different.
I also put.
Would you mind? I think I fixed it on my end. I apologize. Would you mind
that does
playing
make
it again?
It better.
Yeah. Let me.
So people can see those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only change to that horizon is when the mountains get in the way. The rest of the time, it's flat with the ruler. That's a great, something that's kind of easily skipped over. Look at this, the glare. If the sun was doing what they supposed said and gave all the light, why is there a glare just right here? I feel like all of this should be glaring, but refraction, gravity.
Well, another thing is just the distance. Like, look at the distance of this. If you can see the scope of their base camp at the bottom versus the mountains near to them, and they even said the nearest mountain near them was like 10 miles away. But then you look at all the other mountains in this range, also near the base camp, but further away. We're talking 30, 40 miles easily for the majority of these mountains. But then if you continue to play the video, you're going to see furthering mountains way off in the distance. We're talking 100 miles away minimum.
Those tips should not be visible.
And it's amazing this, because these aren't, I don't know the height of some of these mountains, but they don't look like 14ers. They look like if they're at, I don't know, because we don't know the altitude, I suppose, of
Yeah.
Union Glacier to know the tops of these mountains. But look, I mean, just you can see a vast distance way off in the distance.
Yeah, we're
And
losing
I
we're
think that
losing we're losing some of the horizon to the distortion, that opaque, screen that basically is placed there by all the moisture and particulates in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful, quite daunting.
Yeah, just hopefully people understand, like, at least for me, myself personally, I'm not claiming this was a hoax. I'm not claiming this was in a studio. I'm claiming they did go to Union Glacier in Antarctica at 79 degrees south latitude. I'm claiming they did fly directly south of Punta Arenas, Chile, and they did what they said, and they saw the observation they did, and that's why this particular area was chosen for this ALE company to go in and set up a tourist destination for people to go down there and ski and do other things and snowmobile and all that kind of stuff. So it makes perfect sense. This is a unique spot, right? But what I would love for us to be able to do is to go to other spots that are supposedly accessible and be able to document this throughout the year. To me, it seems like this is a very limited information gathering excursion compared to what would need to be done to truly make the claim that the globe Earth is making the claim for. So, especially when the person orchestrating this, or the main leader of this, Will Duffy, was shown that there is a way for this with the reflections off of firmament and the curvature of the firmament, that this can happen on an actual firmament enclosed creation. So it's how far do you think that is? Because he's hovering above base camp. And how far do you think that is?
So he's claiming he's at 1,500 feet with the drone.
1,500 meters.
I don't know that.
So 1,500 meters is going to be almost a mile. It's 4,900 feet. So a mile will be 5,280. So this is almost a mile high above the surface of their base camp. And I mean, just look how far that horizon is, even the apparent horizon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So he's higher. These these mountains are less than a mile high. They're interesting.
Yeah, they're small.
That's interesting to me of a drone being that cold up there, because like as you rise, the temperature drops. So I just wonder how that would even. Just speculation. I'm sure they have technology to worry about cold weather, extreme weather. So, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's a thought that's kind of in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree. You're seeing so far, and even if he's at a mile, I bet if you did some of these calculations, like we've already seen that, right, with world record long distance photography, how we know 100% we're seeing things that we should not see if the radius is what they say it is, and it curves at the rate at which that they say it curves, sorry, this doesn't magically make this curvature exist that we don't see apparent here. You can't see it at 120,000 feet. You can only see it when you're halfway to the moon. We have proof of that because we took pictures from halfway to the moon. Like that's why I was kind of bringing up the moon earlier, because it's like we'll see suddenly, because there's a 24-hour sun, that means that we went to the moon.
Yet we have supposedly the ISS shows us curvature all the time. Hey, real quick, look at what we see on screen here. At least I'm watching your channel as you present this video. And as this thing rotates to the south, you see the mountains start to diminish as far as the formations of the mountains.
Totally.
And it's moving left. It's moving to the left of the screen, the drone is. And isn't it interesting as as we face directly south from this drone height that there's suddenly no more mountains.
Yeah.
It's just flat. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah, it definitely, like, there's a vast difference from this area to this area. There's literally nothing there.
Has anyone ever, is any of the expeditions, the government expeditions from any country that you know of, have they ever mapped the mountain ranges in Antarctica? So let me see if I can find something like that.
Well, they have and that's kind of a thing that I've looked at before is Google Maps and or Google Earth. And if you go down and you look at you can do it online. But if you bring up Google Earth, okay.
Because I'm looking at a mountain. I'm looking at from where they are. If this map is correct, there's more mountains to the south, but we don't see them in this photo.
Not sure exactly where in here they're supposed to.
Not that we can see forever on a firmament enclosed Earth, but I'm just wondering. And clearly, there's some haze off the snow. But I'm just wondering if what mountain ranges would be, which mountain range are they in? And then which ranges would be close to them,
so
adjacent to them to the south, on the Ball Earth depiction.
See, and that's like, what?
Unless they're inside of what's called the Trans-Antarctic Mountains, which seems to stretch from the Ronnie Ice Shelf to the Ross Ice Shelf, but I'm just trying to figure out where Union Glacier is in the midst of this. 1 second here.
See, this is what's so weird to me is like, what is their excuse of why they have drones? Like, don't we have these sophisticated drones, and like, how do we not have all of this mapped out? How do we just have blank spots? Huh?
I say they're all in New Jersey.
I'm just saying, like, we have some of this stuff that's apparently, right, that, like, why? Why do we have...
Good one, Robert.
Like, why? Why is this square different from all the others? Why don't we have drones that are flying this? Like, I don't understand why all of this stitching and all of this weird artifacts has to happen. Do you see that? Like, why is it it's because it's rendering. Like, there's always, that's what's so frustrating with that side, is there's always an excuse for these things, and they self-project and say, see, no, we're going to go there and we're going to prove them, and they're still going to have excuses as to why this doesn't prove them wrong, and they self-project that onto us when we're saying, well, no, who made this claim? A few people maybe made this claim, but that doesn't mean that the truth, the earth is based upon the movement of the sun within a certain area of the earth on a certain time of the year. It's just, you know, and but this to me, like, why isn't this completely mapped? There's no reason why we couldn't come up with the technology to map this whole thing, yet we can map Mars. We can take pictures of Mars that is flawless, with no streams, with no cutouts, but yet we can't of our own Antarctica. We can barely explore Antarctica, yet they're hoping to explore Mars, or they supposedly explored the moon. Like, how did they survive if we can barely survive here? So it's just like there's so many things that is so frustrating to me, specifically about this conversation.
I mean, we have the technology that we could go and explore it. I mean, if they can explore another planet with averse temperatures and low oxygen, I'm sure they could make a suit that would be able to withstand the elements of Antarctica and explore that. Right?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I think, do I have this backward? No, it's the same. It's just like, oh, right here.
So for everyone in my live chat that is continuing to call Jaron and Austin liars, and now they're even calling me a liar. They're telling me I've sold out. You guys can kick rocks. You're gonna get muted, booted.
Are
If you have bad
most of
attitude-
these people like just like no picture, no like random named people?
No, it's not even that. It's just this attitude is horrific. The people are even saying because of the shadows that because of the Austin and the vape thing, because they don't understand humidity. I actually live at altitude in Wyoming, and it's extremely cold here in the winter. We have days where it's -40, and there's no humidity here because we're at altitude. We're at almost 9,000 feet, and no, you can't see your breath. So obviously, when you have a vape, which is something that has moisture in it, and you put it on there to demonstrate moisture to create the actual vape cloud to come out to see, that's why he did that. So ultimately, though, everyone that's that continues to show a really poor attitude of and delves into accusation, as we've constantly said on our channel, you can disagree with this all you want, but the moment you start accusing people of nonsense, that's when you got to go.
Yeah, because
Can't control
what
yourself.
they're really doing is they're slandering someone's heart. Like, they're saying,
Right.
I know their intention more than they do. Their intention must be this, therefore they're liars, therefore they're shills. And it's like, what gives you the right to judge that? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. That's a very that's a line I don't personally want to cross in my life, if I can help it. Oh, dang. I don't know why people fear truth, why they really do. I think a lot of it was people were so, you know, with just coming into the flat earth, like they wanted to reject everything. They wanted to say everything that is the globe is not true, because the flat everything about the flat earth is true. And it's like, even within the quote unquote flat earth movement, there's still so many different lines of thinking and how it works and what it looks like. And we're this little segment saying, well, we believe in the Bible, what the Bible says. And the Bible doesn't say if there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, that suddenly means that we live on a globe and biblical cosmology can be disregarded. It's like, it's almost like the law to them. It's like, oh, well, we can disregard the law because Jesus did it. Like, we can disregard what the Bible says because man knows what it is now. And it's, I don't know, it'll show the fruit that it bears. Like, I guess that's the best way to say it.
Yeah. So I have not purchased access to any of the footage or anything that's being produced by Jaron or Austin.
Oh,
So
did
I
they
don't
do
know.
it
Have
like
you guys
that?
tried?
Did they do it like that? Like, hey, if you want to look at this data,
Yeah,
you
they
got to
said
pay
that
for it?
they said people donated to help them go on the trip, so therefore something to do with that. So therefore, for I guess for the first few weeks, it's going to be behind a paywall on their Patrons to access some of the information. Which, look, that's their decision, but um, they're not withholding all of their footage. It is accessible to people.
Okay.
but it doesn't show anything different than what the Globers are saying. So that's
Yeah,
why,
it's kind of weird
that's
that
why
you're.
it as far as the battle for the media presence and what's being portrayed and how it's being framed, that's where the Globers are running full steam ahead and trying to, like, just shout and yell that they won something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whereas Jaron and Austin are actually more than likely, if I know them like I think I do, they're probably meticulously going over the data
yeah.
and whatever experiments they even said they were doing experiments that they weren't talking about publicly. They were going to talk about later. So I promise you guys, so much speculation, so many people just dogging on them, saying that they're somehow sold out. I mean, this is just nonsense. These people have given up their lives. They can't go get credible jobs. Like, they would have to pay a company at this point to do an internet wipe of all their content and all their presence on the internet before they could apply for a normal job at this point. So these people are sold out to the things they've been talking about and debating about for the last 10 years. Well, not 10 years for Austin, but for quite some time. So just the rampant accusation is not what we do as Christians.
Absolutely.
We should actually have proof. We should not commit slander and false accusations. This bears a great sin in the eyes of our Creator. So this is not what we want to do towards these people. Just be patient, and they're going to be coming out with their analysis and their details of what they found. So ultimately, though, I think that the biggest thing to remember, though, is it is an incredible observation to have. A lot of people are saying, Jaron actually made a statement that is factually incorrect, but he was making it in a very joking way. He said, "Oh, it looks like I get to be the first person to film a 24-hour sun." But, like, that's technically not true. If what they observed is true, that means that previous people like the Anthony Powell guy and like other people whose videos seem suspect in the past, which is why, the flat earthers wanted to go on this trip on their own to get their own data, is because previous 24-hour sun videos look so shaky, so somehow clipped here and there. And many of them do look really bad as far as evidence goes.
Totally.
So technically, this group of people were not the first people to get the 24-hour sun filmed. But hopefully they're going to be the first people to show a continuous, non-interrupted film of the 24-hour sun.
Yeah, not an edited video over multiple weeks and yeah, it's preposterous. Yeah, it's one thing about this is, like, I wonder how long this quote unquote drama is going to affect the community. I feel like from the Globe side of it, this is like one of those bullies that, like, get you up that one time, and they keep using that one time to keep you in fear. You know what I mean? And it's like none of us are fearful. Like, you still can't explain all these other things. You can only explain very, very little. You don't have a model other than a computer generated image, other than other than your math formulas, and yeah, it's insane. Anything you want to add there, Robert? Anything you got for us, Frankie B? Questions,
Yeah, well,
thoughts?
well, they have a a major trump card now when you debate them,
Yeah.
and they're go to it every time. I don't even know who came up with this 24-hour sun thing. To me, it makes no sense, and it makes
Michael Toon did.
Who?
Michael Toon, MC Toon.
McToon.
MC Toon. So, does he have credibility? I mean, is it?
He's been a rabid anti-flat earther globe proponent for several years now. I had him on my channel as an interview. He's someone that believes that the Bible is wrong if you declare he believes that you're lying if you declare the Bible teaches a firmament enclosed reality. He thinks the Bible teaches a globe, and he's gone to churches and given presentations on why he believes the Bible teaches a globe. He is a glober times 9,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he is the ultimate glober, and he is the one that Duffy said was training him. Duffy said McToon was training him.
Yeah.
In my first interview with and bring him up to speed on all these arguments and how to respond to them and rebut them. And So this is Will Duffy in this particular topic. Will Duffy is the disciple of MC Toon, and I promise you, behind the scenes, they've both been orchestrating this whole event, this whole media event.
Oh yeah, Mick Toon has definitely tried to be like, oh, that had nothing to do with this. They even like, did you hear about that guy that's doing that flannel experiment thing? I think that's a really good idea. Like they hadn't already talked about it, and they hadn't. So like, yeah, there's just so much weaselly, slimy stuff from their side. The media picks it like, there's so many layers to why. I get why people think that it was faked and etc. I'm okay with accepting like either way. Again, the stars don't indicate what the ground is. We've already seen too far. We've already measured it and it doesn't match their numbers. So if they want to start saying, oh, well, we do live on a globe, it's just way bigger and we haven't told you because we didn't want you to go to those other lands because we don't want to control you. Okay, maybe I would start believing that, but until they can show me the radius the actual curve, then no, I'm not going to believe we lived on a curved surface. That's my kind of final thoughts.
Well, to me, it just seems really controlled, and it's like somebody higher than McToon knew about it and told him about it. That NASA has done experiments about it, and now it's just become a straw man in our community. And every time we debate, you're going to hear it, and it's going to come up, and then we really don't have anything to refute it because we took the evidence, we took the bait, and now we have the evidence. So,
well, I would say if you haven't, Frankie B, what we kind of talking about, me and Robert brought it up, is he did an interview with a man named Joseph, literally showing, mocking up, modeling how you can have a 24-hour sun on a flat Earth with a firmament. So check that out if you haven't seen it, because that was kind of another point I can add on, another layer, if you will, is that they painted it, especially Will Duffy painted the final experiment as this catch-all, like there's no biblical cosmologists, there's no flat earthers who believe you can observe a 24-hour sun on a biblical cosmologist earth or on a flat earth. Therefore, this will dismiss them all. When, if you look at what Joseph's have been talking for years, he has been talking that it's possible, modeling it and showing it that it is possible. So again, another layer on the dishonesty, the weaseliness.
Hey, when the video's over, can you put that video in the link so that we can all watch it?
Yeah, I'll actually do it right now.
If you can do it
now,
now.
Tyler is in the chat. Tyler, if you wouldn't mind grabbing that, I'd be appreciative.
Yeah, put that video in the comments or the link, or link it in the description so that we can all watch it.
Yeah, if y'all haven't seen that, definitely.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I didn't know it was there. So
yeah. He's got a few videos. I saw
I guess that's the route we have to go now, and do the research on that, and that'll be a rebuttal, because every one of these Globers is going to bring this up.
Yeah.
In their debate, you documented the 24-hour sun. Now you know it's a globe. Da 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 da. And like Sean said, they're gonna crow around like a rooster.
Yep. What were you saying there, Robert?
Yeah, so I saw GeoTruth was in Sean's chat.
Oh, okay.
And he's put out some stuff too on that. Now, if you ever seen GeoTruth's presentations, it's more cerebral, more graphic designer type stuff, as opposed to Joseph's, who has more of a visual
model,
right? But still, he had stuff out too, showing that it's a possibility to have that. So, yeah, it's not the final experiment, and I think there's a lot of people. I mean, Sean was talking a little bit about it when he's talking about some of the people in the chat, because you got people who um, are putting their trust in information from everybody. And here, like myself, Torah. I don't eat meat, swine, right? Um, just all these different things that just seclude me from the population, right? And people want to be social. They want to fit in and be social, and to step out and say that you believe in FE, and then you got something like this come out that you know can destroy your paradigm, and it's you know it it causes some reaction, I'm sure. People are going to backtrack, um, question themselves, and they might even start questioning even more information. That's a problem too. Go beyond just the whole idea of the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, and I think with the question, like with kind of that setup you just had, there are people who looked at that and are totally like, you know what, maybe it isn't I'm leaning more towards a globe. I would say maybe you didn't look into it enough to really, and like you said, like I've only been looking at it for, a few years, and in a way a lot of us have, but the reason why I bring that up is because I think, like, for me, it's the preponderance. Like, just because they have a 24-hour sun, again, doesn't change the moon landing, doesn't change those images, doesn't change the curvature rate, doesn't change all the Coriolis effect, like all these other things that they've added and changed and morphed over time. And they say, well, that's science. That's how we move forward. We constantly change it. And it's like, no, you're constantly writing lies to defend the lies that you already told. And again, if we've caught them telling that, lying one time, it's safe to assume that they're lying about all of it. And in the times that we get to where we get to check, hey, are they lying about there being a 24-hour sun? Seemingly, if we take Austin at his word, seemingly there is a 24-hour sun. Does that again then eliminate all the other preponderance of evidence that says that we live in biblical cosmology? No. So I would say don't let it shake your faith. Dive into it more. And I think we shouldn't fear seeking the truth. Just because we found out there's a 24-hour sun doesn't mean we shouldn't look into it more and find what is true and what's not. Because if it is a globe, if it really was, I would want to believe in the truth. I would want to say it is a globe. That is what it is. At least where I am now, I cannot make that claim because all evidence suggests that it's not, in my opinion. So, sweet. Alrighty. Well, we're not quite at 11, but we've been talking about it a good hour and 30 minutes. I don't want to cut anyone off, so if anyone has kind of some final thoughts they'd like to share before we do say our goodbyes, I'd love to hear from all of y'all.
Yeah, Vader, have you ever seen that? There was a sci-fi movie or a sci-fi series about 7-8 years ago, and it was about these people in a simulator. They were in like a rocket ship simulator, and they were told that they were flying for 30 years to some planet in a distant galaxy or whatever, and they had to go into hypersleep, and then they woke up, and the whole thing was they were just in a big warehouse, but because they had built the supposed rocket ship that housed all the people inside and had living quarters and all this kind of stuff, they thought, because they projected screens on the outside of the windows to show space on the outside, so the people inside the experiment thought they were going to a different planet. They thought they were in hypersleep or whatever it's called, cryosleep, and they thought they'd woken up after a long time, but they'd run into malfunctions and problems, and the drama ensues from the plot. The whole thing was done inside of a warehouse in this massive ship that they built to fake these people out, to make them think they were actually traveling through space. And the people all believed it on the inside. And it was for the people to study what would, for the government to study how would people react if they did try to travel to a distant galaxy and woke up early from their cryo sleep and didn't have enough provisions, and what would they do? And so it's interesting that no matter what we're shown, because they clearly try to recreate this idea with the International Space Station, with the photography that they try to do from high altitude, or I should say high low altitude photography that they try to pass off as being in space, and a variety of other trickery that they try to show. Oh, you live on a ball in space. So if that's the case, like if they're willing to go the lengths that they are, which we've seen over the years, that they're willing to go to these great lengths to perpetuate this false narrative and this false reality, none of it changes the definition of the word firmament. That's something that, this is why it bugs me to death when people talk about the Mandela effect can change reality. Guys, if it was true, they would have already changed it and you would never know.
Yeah.
The Bible has been clear for thousands of years. There's a definition to the word firmament. It's not changing. It's not going anywhere. And it hasn't gone anywhere. It's explicitly defined in Scripture. It's a solid structure separating the waters from the waters in a dome shape as defined and translated by many translators in Amos 9. It spread out over the earth. Above it are waters still, Psalm 148. And Revelation 20, verses 1 through 2, which the sea will be then dispersed at the second coming when it's rolled open like a scroll for the Messiah to return and the New Jerusalem to descend down through it. All those words, that whole story, none of that is going to be changing. None of it's going to be redefined or reinterpreted to where suddenly they're going to start printing new Bibles with completely different terminology. So again, no matter what the world tries to show you, they're limited in how much they can perpetuate. They have to get you to buy into it. They cannot just hold you down and force and just rewire your brain so that you cannot accept truth. They have limits too. So this is where we just got to be mindful. God's word will not change, does not change. The prophecies of the second coming, the Son of Man, Jesus Christ coming back through the firmament, will not change, will not go away. And I think this is very important that people just remember. I think that they just remember that what God has promised will come to pass, how he promised it will come to pass. And that means he's not changing the narrative suddenly and just going to put all those prophecies in a space heliocentric setting. He described the setting. It's a firmament circle of earth. A circle of earth is enclosed by a firmament. He lives in layers of the firmament above us, according to Scripture. None of those words are changing or going away. So we just need to be mindful of all those fundamental truths with Scripture. Literally on page 1, Genesis 1.
How dare you!
You're muted,
And
brother.
to add to that, it's like, isn't it interesting how we get the Earth in day 1, but we don't get the sun, the moon, and the stars till day 4? But we want to define what happened on day 1 by what's happening with what was created on day 4. You know what I mean? It's like the sun, the moon, and the stars were made to work with the earth, not the other way around. In their model, it has to be the other way around. It has to be that the sun and its importance actually form the planets around it in the solar system that we currently have. So there's so many reasons why this is not the final experiment. So many reasons why this isn't the final nail in the coffin. And and I agree with you. It's a big win. It's a puzzle piece that, if true, right? Like, if indeed we got this footage, which I believe we did, then okay, that just narrows our search for truth down. We don't have to think about the experiments of how it would go like this and at what time it would need to do this for it to work. How does it go faster sometimes or slower sometimes? We can get that out of our brains and move on to pursuing it with this knowledge. And amen for that, in my opinion. So sweet. All right, Robert, any final thoughts, brother, before we say our goodbyes?
Not so much. I know that I was reading, Trace and I, we were reading Habakkuk today, and I read on what was it 3:11. The sun and moon stood still in their habitation at the light of the thine arrows as they went at the shining of the glittering spear. So that's not your typical, um, one that they usually bring out when they talk about the shape of the earth. But still, it made me think about, typically the sun and moon go through their rotation. We're not rotating around them or
Yeah,
rotating around the sun,
yeah,
but they both are rotating around in the circle around us. So,
yeah. And again,
mhm,
it says the sun runs its circuit, right? And circuit doesn't have to
mhm.
be a perfect circle. It is a from one end to the other. I don't so
Yeah.
sweet. All right. What about you, Frankie B? Any final thoughts, brother?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the biblical cosmology, like Sean, and I know where we live. My God has told us. Our God has told us. Yah, however you want to say it. Uh, and I'm just gonna stick to that and just live by faith, like we're called to, and continue to walk in the ways of the Father.
Wait, we don't have to have it all figured out perfectly to be able to
Now,
go
it'll be
to
given to us when we pass to the other side
heaven.
or go to heaven or
However you want to
uh,
say that.
well, I already believe that scripture is fulfilled, so I'm not going to go there. But so I just believe we're living in the kingdom, and all glory has been given to Christ, our Savior, and we live with Him eternally here and to the kingdom when we enter it after this life.
Totes my
So
goats.
yeah, it doesn't shake my faith at all,
Yeah.
and I just hope that Austin took some really good data, like shooting a laser as far as he could, measuring the flatness, coming back with some real data like that, and that our debaters can come up with a way to get around this straw man that they're going to throw at us. And I hope many debates will come out of this, good debates, strong debates that will open the eyes of those seeking the truth.
Yeah, I thought Jaron and Austin were taking a drone with them. I guess maybe only Duffy had the drone. I'm not sure who had a drone and who didn't, but I know that when they flew in the plane, supposedly all of them on both sides of this discussion, inside the plane had their cameras against the windows the whole time. And I'm just hoping that at some point, Elizabeth or Austin or Jaron, they put an infrared filter and lens on their camera as they were flying
Yeah.
to this place, so they could see, the great distances, if possible. Even if they were just flying to Punta Arenas, from like San Francisco or from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, where Austin took off. Just flying over Mexico and over Central and South America. Put that infrared filter on there, like JT Nolan's photography, and see if you can see 1,000 miles.
Yeah, more footage, more camera angles, more
Yeah.
destinations. Yeah, that I hope they did. I hope they used this. I think if I know Austin right, he knew it was going to be this setup and spike. He knew that was kind of coming to a degree, or at least thought about it. And if it was okay, what do I need to then shift into to be able to talk about this? Because definitely, I feel like before any real debates go any further, this is going to have to be addressed, or it's just the debate is just going to get drowned out. So.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see how it goes, but I hope that they took some time and some forethought and like you were mentioning, some of those extra experiments that are maybe going to throw them a curveball that maybe they weren't anticipating, and I think that'll be awesome. So sweet. Alrighty. Well, it's been a fun stream. We got about 15 minutes early, but I think we hit a good spot, a good closing spot. So we'll go through everyone, let everyone say goodbye to all those that are watching now and that will watch later, and we'll call it a stream. So let's start with you, Frankie B, since you're up there in the top.
Yeah. Hey. Hello, everyone. Shalom. Dig deep. Don't forget, the truth is always out there. If you dig deep enough, you will find it. Dig through all the lies and deception, because the truth is always there. So dig deep and enjoy the song at the end from Born Out of Time. And shalom, everyone. Have a great week and have a safe new year.
Absolutely, thank you, brother, and always a pleasure to have you. Jump over
Yeah.
to you, Sean.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on tonight, and hopefully people will just go out and research for themselves. Obviously, if you just want to believe what the news is going to tell you, you you may have your mRNA already been changed at this point. So hopefully that demographic of people is not listening, and people that actually have some critical thinking skills are listening, and they want to test what the Bible claims. This isn't what Vader Bear claims or what Sean Griffin claims. This isn't what Jaron or Austin claims. The Bible claims that there is a firmament that encloses the earth and that there's multiple layers of this firmament, and the Most High, the creator of heaven and earth, lives at the heaven of the heavens, meaning the top layer of this firmament. In fact, the Bible claims that the word heaven was given to the structure of the firmament as a name. So think about that every time you read your Bible and you see the word heaven used. It's referring to a structure above you. So this is the setting of the scriptures from which hopefully everyone watching here receives their faith. And I think it's very important that we take God's word seriously. We don't give ourselves license to reinterpret or redefine it outside of its plainly worded definitions. And we just run with what God has said and watch your heart come alive. Watch your experience in this life come alive to where you realize, oh my goodness, our creator is close. He does love us. He does have plans to prosper and help and do good things for us. We just need to trust his words for us. Otherwise, the enemy is wanting to tell you that you live on a purposeless ball in some random part of a galaxy, of a solar system where there is no creator, there is no God, and they don't even know where God is, much less they don't know if he's ever coming back. And actually, you're just an accident and that your life doesn't matter. This is what the world's telling you. So, look, it's not about an emotional argument, honestly. It's about literally observational. Can we observe the conditions for what the Bible claims? And yes, we can. We can do that through observations of flat distances as well as the scientific measurement of atmospheric pressure, which needs a container. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. So will we ever have an opportunity someday to freely explore this earth without governments getting in the way? I don't know. I would guess no. But if we ever do, I promise you they would find a firmament. That simple. So yeah, thanks for having me on. Sorry for the rant.
Nope, love the rant. No, man, you're
proven 1,000 different ways. This is just going to be one more way it'll be proven.
Oh, absolutely, dude. And no need to apologize. You were slinging gravy there, so it's. I always love having you on, and when you have the time to do so, it's definitely a pleasure to hear us here at Circle of the Earth. So, sweet. All right. Well, let's jump over to Robert, brother, if you'd like to say your goodbyes.
Alrighty. Yep. Shalom, everyone. And as far as for Sean and Wes, thank you both for taking the seed that was already planted in me and put it to much more. Just the whole ideal, to really understand that the Yahweh is actually sitting up there. You know, not just a vapor somewhere. Yeah. So yeah, thanks to both of you there for that. And if anyone hasn't seen their Uncommon Ground, the series on that, you got to check it out.
Yeah, go check out Uncommon Ground, West Plays Music. We're currently in season
You're muted.
Vader, I think you're on.
And get some Zeet seats.
Yes.
Yeah, you're showing me those earlier, so
Yes.
They're pretty awesome.
yeah, it's actually fun. I have some blue and red ones. I think the blue and red look really good together. So great.
You know,
those look great.
if I can interject a little bit on this. So yeah, so I'm I used to be just your regular Christian guy that fit in with the crowd. You know, mostly just got maybe put under a microscope. Oh, you're supposed to be a goody two shoe guy. What are you doing that for, right?
Uh-huh.
Then start getting into the Torah, getting into the not eating swine, the food laws. And now my coworkers, I guess you could say also my employees, these are all Teamster guys, right? There's a lot of hazing that goes on
Uh-huh.
at work. Okay. So I just got these like last week from West Blaze, and so I've never wore
Seats.
these. I've never wore these. All right. So of course, the first day that I wear them, one of the guys like, of course it's Christmas time, right? Like, what? What is this? This is like some decoration thing, So I'm just saying, for y'all, just maybe say a prayer for me. Taking the step out there, looking like a fool, you might say.
Yeah, to the world. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. I mean, I used to do the wear the cross on the necklace, and I was like, then I started thinking like, I don't know if I like this because it's kind of like I'm showing Christ, hey, here's the
Place my
here's the vehicle of your death I'm wearing on my neck, right? And I had the WWJD wristband, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which that fit, no one questioned that. That was whatever. These right here, though, that throws up a big, whatever. But
so for me at
it
work,
also might be a witness.
totally. For me at work, I was just like, oh, they're like, what's these? I was like, oh, they're called Zeet seats. They're like, what are they for? And I'm like, oh, God just says to wear them, and when you brush your hand upon them, it's to help you remember to keep the law. I just keep it short and sweet, and if they're interested, they'll ask more questions, and if they're not really interested, they'll kind of just let it lay. So. Well, sweet. Thanks for sharing that. Keep Robert in your prayers. Keep Marcia in your prayers. She's having a lot of medical stuff going on right now, so just say a little prayer for her. That would be greatly appreciated. And thank you for Sean for coming, for Robert, and for Frankie B joining us to talk about this. I think it's super important, but again, it is no final experiment. It is no final last nail in the coffin. There's more truth and more puzzle pieces of truth to seek. So for us, we will continue to do so. But until next time, everybody, it was a pleasure. But have a great rest of your weekend before the start of the week tomorrow. So good night, everyone. Shalom.
The honor to search a man.